Hello everybody, San here, engineer, MBA, and investor. And in today's breaking news video, we are announcing a second country accepting CRISPR-based therapy for the first time ever on humans. And of course, this is Bahrain, a Middle East country. And basically, they have permitted Exa-Cel, specifically the program from CRISPR Therapeutics and Vertex, to perform their CRISPR therapy on humans in the country of Bahrain. This was approved on the 2nd December. I sort of missed that news because that was like over the weekend, and I sort of posted this on X.com. And again, likes and reshares are welcome. I think this news is getting across the community very, very fast. I mean, you have the official press release here from Global Newswire, and of course, I confirmed that also on Market Watch, the legitimacy of this news. So Bahrain has become the second country in the world and the first in the Middle East to approve Casgevy. I think that's how you pronounce it, Casgevy, who knows? But we know that's Exa-Cel for the treatment of patients with sickle cell disease and transfusion-dependent beta thalassemia. The treatment was developed by Vertex and CRISPR Therapeutics after conducting a series of clinical trials in the UK, US, France, Italy, Germany, among others. Following the UK's MHRA's authorization to use Exa-Cel, Bahrain is the second country in the world and the first in the region to approve this treatment. This extraordinary development opens new possibilities for medical advancement and reinforces Bahrain's commitment to pioneering healthcare solutions, offering a better health quality of life for patients with these blood disorders. And that sentence that I just read out is really probably the most important sentence of any press release when it comes to CRISPR Therapeutics and potentially allowing that. And of course, this is pretty big, guys. This is breaking news. This is big. This is the second country to allow CRISPR within a 2-week span. In fact, the UK allowed it over 2 weeks ago. We covered it right in this channel. We're still pending for the FDA in the US, which we're bound to get a response by Friday of this week. But over the weekend, Bahrain gave us this breaking news, and this is amazing, guys. This is amazing. Before I head into why it's amazing, the first, I think a lot of bears and a lot of base case folks around CRISPR are saying, well, Bahrain is not really an important. I want to respond to that, right? They said something like it's a tiny island, and it is true. It is a tiny island compared to the size of most other countries. The thing that people sort of maybe miss on is, well, two things. First of all, it is a country, right? You gotta acknowledge it is a independent country that has its own government in a sense. It has its own military economy. It has its own healthcare system. Of course, they're talking about it right here in this post here at the bottom here, the National Health Regulatory Authority. They have their own FDA version of it. Healthcare Canada, that's for Canada. In Bahrain, you have NHRA. So they're an independent entity, right? And they didn't even have any CRISPR trials going in their country when it comes to CRISPR therapy, because as far as we know. But the fact they allowed it, it's a big deal, right? And there was one more thing I forgot to mention is this country is almost 2 million people. Now, the size doesn't really matter because Singapore is smaller than Bahrain, and Singapore, I think everybody in this channel will agree that it is a top country in the world and an important player in the world. The reason why Bahrain is such an important country is not necessarily for its economy stance. I mean, I looked it up. It's like 97th in GDP in the world, which again, the UK was top 5. I mean, I don't really think at this point people are looking at can we get a big country in terms of economy size to accept it? I think what people are looking at is different regions, right? In the UK, that's close to Europe. That's Europe. You could argue that's Europe. in the Middle East, you had nothing, right? In Asia, you have nothing. In Africa, you have nothing. In North America or anything, anywhere in the Americas, you have nothing, right? But the fact that they allowed it in Middle East sort of makes you think, right? Now, the Middle East is looking into it, and Bahrain is an important player in the Middle East, regardless of what anybody has to say, regardless of their size. I mean, they have, like I said, they have 2 million people. It's an important country in the region, and for the Middle East, a country in the Middle East to approve this, then obviously there are other neighboring countries such as the UAE and so on, that the Saudis, and you're looking at Iran, you're looking at other countries such as Pakistan in the western side of Asia, and India. They're looking at that, right? And this is big. This is big. And again, it is the second country officially. And I think people need to give this time, right? I mean, you just had two different countries from two different regions with two different, complete different, not just cultures, but like different regulatory bodies. I mean, in one sense, in Bahrain, you have the Kingdom of Bahrain, right? I don't need to explain what that is in a sense, where I think most people on this channel understand that the political side of things are completely different when it comes to UK and Bahrain, which is a country in the Middle East that obviously is called the Kingdom of Bahrain for a reason. So two different, regimes that are approving this single bipartisan program. And that's my point. It's a bipartisan program. Regardless of whether you're liberal, conservative, whether you're, for more taxes or less taxes, this program is something that is bipartisan in a sense where it doesn't matter, what are your beliefs. What matters is you have, for the first time ever, a possibility to cure a rare disease, a blood disease that's never been cured in the past, and that no company has been successful at it. You don't need no match, you don't need no donors of organs and so on. This is a one-time treatment. It works in terms of data. We have 3 phases of clinical trials that have shown over 97% of patients being free of any transfusions, which again, they require transfusion on almost on a weekly basis in some cases for sickle cell disease. So this is big, guys. This is big. This is breaking news. I wanted to make this video on Monday. I know I don't usually make videos on Monday these days, but I saw this on Sunday night. I was like, I can't believe I missed this. And I can't believe no one brought it up to my attention other than this user on X, which messaged me here and there some news. And I was like, I have to cover this. This is so big. And speaking about that, I mean, I was looking through YouTube. It's like, you know what? Let me YouTube the following: UK CRISPR. How many videos? How many views? And I was astonished. I mean, the BBC had a video up. That was their only video. I think about 28,000 views. You had, CBC News in Canada with like 7 or 8,000 views. And granted, it's only been 2 weeks, but you had like a couple of other videos with like 500 views or something. And that's it. I mean, you would think that the mainstream media would cover that a lot more. Again, I think the FDA approving it or rejecting it is going to catch on the news really fast. I think that's going to be big. But I mean, no wonder no one covered this news over the weekend, because this is big, right? December 2nd at almost 1 p.m. Eastern time, Bahrain has allowed for the first time ever a CRISPR-based therapy in their country, which makes it the second country in the world to allow it, which means this is a domino effect, in my opinion. You look, the FDA has to be aware of this, right? There is no way that the FDA is like not looking at the fact that UK allowed it and Bahrain allowed it. And you got to remember, guys, these organizations are in communication. In fact, literally, within this same press release, Bahrain, is being sort of, put in parallel with the UK's decision just 2 weeks before, right? So you can sort of imagine these organizations, whether that's in the UK or whether that's in Bahrain or the FDA in US or Health Canada or in New Zealand or Australia, those healthcare, regulatory bodies are in discussions, right? And this is gonna be a big topic, right? So I really really think this is going forward. There is no way we're going back here. I really think so. And maybe I'm putting a little bit more juice than what it's worth. Or maybe not. Maybe I'm doing something that I think a lot of people are skipping by in the stock market industry, in the business world side. A lot of people are missing this news. A lot of people are not covering it. And it's unfortunate, right? I mean, CRISPR Therapeutics was up like 5% today. And let's take a look here. And obviously this was based on today's news, right? So they were up 4% rather. Obviously it was based on today's news. And again, they're only worth barely over $5.6 billion. I estimated that after the FDA's decision, within the next few weeks, they'll be worth about 25 billion, so a 5x. That's my prediction. Maybe not a few weeks, maybe it'll take a few months, but that's my prediction. That's of course assuming that it gets approved. Obviously, if it gets delayed or rejected, rather, things will be a different story. But I just can't see that them not being worth more than 10, 15 billion, which again, they actually already peaked at in 2021. I want to remind viewers that in 2021, this company's stock was worth over 200 US dollars, right? It was well over that. And by that definition, they can easily 3x from here, which puts them above 15 billions. And again, at that time, we had less data. We didn't even have some companies weren't public yet in the CRISPR landscape. We didn't have that many data. The UK hadn't allowed it, which they did 2 weeks ago. The FDA didn't even review any documentation, which they are obviously doing. There was no external committee giving the green light to the FDA. We obviously, like I said, that we had a lot less data. So we've come a long way, guys. We've come a long way, and this is big. This news here really, really, it's almost like, in a sense, bigger than the UK, which again, it's not. When you think about, obviously, the economy, the size of the countries, the impact that the UK has versus Bahrain in the world. But in a sense, it is the feeling of domino effect, right? When you see that domino effect playing out. And what I mean by domino effect is other regulatory bodies are going to start looking into this and obviously potentially approving it. Because if the UK is doing it, if Bahrain is doing it, and if potentially the US on Friday is doing it, then why wouldn't we? And of course, we being the country that's looking into that, right? So this is big, guys. It's a big news. It's an amazing day for investors, an amazing day for patients, an amazing day for the CRISPR landscape. If you're in Vertex or specifically in CRISPR Therapeutics company, I think you're feeling good about this. You're feeling good. You're feeling positive, and I just can't see this playing out any other way, the way we envision it in this channel. Of course, I'm being optimistic here, but I just can't see this being declined or rejected flat out. I just can't see it. But again, not financial advice, guys. Anything can happen. We are, of course, in a bizarre world. There's a saying that the most ironic outcome is the most likely. So I'll leave it off like that, guys. As always, subscribe if you're not, like this video if you found value, and let me know, guys, what do you guys think about this news? This is big, so happy. Thank you so much for watching, guys, and sharing this moment with me. I'll see you guys over the week, maybe with the big news that's upcoming. Thank you.